My mom said, "We used your college fund for your sister's IVF." I said just one word. Part 1: The Revelation. The kitchen smelled like my childhood, cinnamon rolls and coffee, the scent of Sunday mornings when life was simpler. I was home for Thanksgiving break, my junior year at State University almost behind me, when my entire world came crashing down with a single sentence. "Honey, we need to talk about your senior year," Mom said, her hands wrapped around her coffee mug like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. I looked up from my laptop where I'd been reviewing my spring semester schedule. Something in her tone made my stomach drop. Dad wasn't at the table. That should have been my first warning sign. "What about it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light. Mom took a deep breath and I watched her eyes fill with tears. "Your father and we've had to make a very difficult decision. We love you so much, Melissa, you have to know that." My heart started pounding. "Were they getting divorced? Was someone sick? We've used your college fund," she said quietly, "for your sister's IVF treatments." The words hung in the air like smoke after an explosion. I stared at her, certain I'd misheard. "What? Rebecca needs this, honey. She and Tom have been trying for 6 years. 6 years of heartbreak and disappointment. The treatments are so expensive and they've already gone through their savings twice. We had to help her. She's our daughter too." I felt like I was underwater, sounds muffled and distorted. "My college fund," I repeated slowly. "The one Grandpa set up when I was born, the one you've been adding to for 21 years. Mom nodded, tears now streaming down her face. "We'll help you figure something out. You can take out loans, or maybe you could transfer to the community college for your last year." No, it was just one word, but it came out with such finality that Mom actually flinched. "Melissa, please understand." "No," I said again, standing up so fast my chair scraped against the tile floor. "Where's Dad? He's at the hardware store, but—" I grabbed my keys from the counter and walked out. I didn't slam the door, I didn't yell. I just left that single word hanging in the kitchen like a verdict. I drove aimlessly for an hour, my mind reeling. The college fund wasn't just money. It was security, it was my grandfather's legacy, it was the promise my parents had made to me my entire life. "Don't worry about college costs," they'd always said. "That's taken care of." I'd chosen my major, biomedical engineering, knowing it would take 4 full years, possibly 5. I'd taken unpaid internships instead of summer jobs because my parents assured me the fund would cover everything. I'd turned down a full scholarship to a smaller state school because they'd encouraged me to follow my dreams to the better program. And now, with 3 semesters left, I was supposed to just figure it out. My phone buzzed, Mom calling. I declined it. It buzzed again. A text from Rebecca, Mom told me. "Can we talk, please?" I turned my phone to silent and kept driving. Part 2: The Family I Thought I Knew. I ended up at Java Junction, the coffee shop where I'd worked in high school. Tina, the owner, was behind the counter. She took one look at my face and poured me a large coffee without asking. "Rough day," she said gently. I laughed, a hollow sound. "You could say that." I sat in the corner booth, the one I used to study in, and tried to process what had happened. My sister Rebecca was 8 years older than me. We'd never been particularly close. The age gap made us feel more like different generations sometimes, but I'd never wished her ill. When she married Tom 5 years ago, I'd been a bridesmaid. When they started trying for a baby and faced fertility struggles, I'd been sympathetic. But this felt like betrayal. My phone kept buzzing. I finally looked. 17 missed calls, texts from Mom, Dad, Rebecca, even Tom. I opened Rebecca's messages first. "Melissa, I'm so sorry, I didn't know they were going to use all of it. We thought there would be enough for both of us. Please call me, I never wanted this to happen. I would give anything to fix this." Then came the one that made my blood boil. "You're young, you have time to make money back." This was my last chance. I set the phone down carefully, afraid I might throw it, want to talk about it. Tina slid into the seat across from me. And suddenly I did. I told her everything. About the college fund, about Rebecca's IVF, about the casual way my mother had suggested I just take out loans or transfer schools as if my education was some flexible, optional thing. Tina listened, her expression growing darker. When I finished, she leaned back and shook her head. "That's financial abuse," she said flatly. "What? That money was yours, Melissa. Your grandfather set it up for you specifically. Even if your parents contributed to it, they were acting as trustees. They didn't have the moral or legal right to just take it, but Rebecca needed. Rebecca's infertility is a tragedy. I'm not minimizing that. But her emergency doesn't erase their commitment to you. They could have taken out loans themselves. They could have helped Rebecca apply for grants or fertility assistance programs. They had options that didn't involve stealing your future." The word stealing hit me like a slap. But was she wrong? "What do I do?" I asked, my voice small. "That depends. How much was in the fund? Last I knew, about $80,000. Tina whistled low. "And they used all of it." I pulled up my phone and with shaking hands opened the banking app where I could view the trust account. The balance showed $1,247.38. They'd left me about enough for textbooks. Part 3: The Cost of Family Loyalty. I went back home after dark, hoping everyone would be asleep. No such luck. The entire family was in the living room. Mom, Dad, Rebecca and Tom. It looked like an intervention. Melissa, Dad stood up immediately. We need to talk about this. Now you want to talk? I kept my voice level. Not before you stole $80,000 from me. That's not fair, Rebecca said, her voice shaking. It wasn't stealing. It was family helping family. Did anyone ask if I wanted to help? I looked around the room. Did anyone think to have a conversation with me about this before you emptied my account? Silence. That's what I thought. Mom started crying again. We thought we could replace it before you needed it. The first round of IVF failed and then the second and the third. Each time we thought this is it, this is the last one, but Rebecca was suffering so much. So now I have to suffer instead. You're being dramatic, Tom said, speaking for the first time. It's just student loans. Everyone has them. I turned to face my brother-in-law, this man who'd been part of our family for 5 years. Did you have them? He shifted uncomfortably. That's different. I went to medical school, so your education was worth investing in, but mine isn't. I didn't say that. You literally just said that. I looked at Rebecca. Did it work? The IVF? She shook her head, fresh tears falling. No, none of them took. Something twisted in my chest. Despite everything, I felt a pang of sympathy. Then I remembered the text. You're young, you have time. I'm sorry you're going through this, Rebecca, I really am, but that doesn't make what you did right. What we did, Dad said quietly. Don't blame your sister. This was our decision. Rebecca's 33 years old, I said. She's not a child. She knew where the money was coming from. Rebecca stood up, her face flushed. You have always been the favorite, the baby, the one everything revolves around. For once Mom and Dad put me first and you can't handle it. I laughed in disbelief. Put you first, Rebecca. You got a new car for high school graduation. I got a card. You got a wedding that cost $40,000. You've gotten Mom and Dad to cost in 2 different apartments. You got 8 years of them helping with your rent when you were finding yourself. I have never asked them for anything beyond what they promised me. And now that promise is broken because you decided your wants were more important than my future. A baby isn't a want, she screamed. It's a need, it's biological. How dare you? I needed my education, I shouted back, losing my composure. I needed to be able to finish my degree without drowning in debt. I needed my family to keep their word. Enough, Dad's voice cracked like thunder. Both of you, enough. Melissa, I understand you're upset, but family takes care of each other. We made the best decision we could with the information we had. No, I said that word again. You made the easiest decision. You took the path of least resistance. Rebecca was crying, so you gave her what she wanted. You didn't think about me because I wasn't in your face, wasn't making demands. You just assumed I'd understand, won't you? Mom pleaded. Honey, you're so smart and capable, you'll land on your feet. Rebecca needed us, and there it was, the truth beneath all the justifications. They believed I didn't need them. They believed I was strong enough to handle this. They believed I'd forgive them because that's what I always did. Smooth things over, kept the peace, understood. I need to think, I said. I'm going back to campus tomorrow instead of staying through the weekend. Melissa, I'm not disowning you, I'm not cutting you off. I just need space to figure out what this means and what I'm going to do. I headed for the stairs, then paused. And for the record, the fact that you thought I'd just accept this tells me exactly how much you value me. I didn't wait for a response. Part 4: The Real Cost of Education. Back at school, I threw myself into research. Not for classes, for my own financial survival. The reality was brutal. I had 3 semesters left. Tuition, room, board, books and fees came to about $28,000 per semester. I needed $84,000, and I had $1,247.38. Student loans were the obvious answer, but when I met with the financial aid office, the numbers made me feel sick. With my parents' income, I didn't qualify for need-based aid. I'd have to take out private loans with interest rates between 7 and 12%. By the time I paid them off, that $84,000 would have cost me over $130,000. What about declaring independence? I asked the counselor. She shook her head sympathetically. For financial aid purposes, you're not independent unless you're 24, married, in the military, or have legal dependents. The fact that your parents won't pay doesn't matter to the federal government. I left her office feeling hollow. My roommate Jennifer found me staring at my laptop screen at 2 in the morning, tears streaming down my face. Mel, what's wrong? I told her everything. Jen was from a poor family, had worked 3 jobs through high school and was at school on a combination of scholarships and loans. I thought she might tell me to stop complaining. Instead, she got angry. Really angry. Your parents are garbage, she said flatly. I'm sorry, I know that's harsh, but they are. My mom works 2 jobs and still manages to send me $50 every month. Your parents had $80,000 they'd promised you and just gave it away. That's not family, that's theft. But Rebecca is a grown woman with a husband who's a doctor. Doctors make bank. They could have taken out loans, they could have sold things, they had options. They chose the option that hurt you. Hearing someone else validate my feelings made something break inside me. I sobbed, the kind of crying that comes from the depths of your soul, and Jen held me while I finally processed the betrayal. When I calmed down, she pulled up her laptop. Okay, let's make a plan. You're not dropping out. We're going to figure this out. We worked through the night. By morning, we had a strategy. Apply for every scholarship I possibly could, even small ones. Get a part-time job, maybe 2. Talk to my academic advisor about accelerating my courses to graduate a semester early. Look into co-op programs that might help with costs. Consider taking 1 semester off to work full-time and save money. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. It was hope. Part 5, building my own bridge. I threw myself into scholarship applications. I wrote essays until my fingers cramped. I detailed my academic achievements, my research projects, my volunteer work. And at the bottom of each application, in the section asking about financial need, I wrote a version of the truth. My family experienced an unexpected financial crisis that has depleted my college fund. I am determined to complete my degree and am seeking assistance to make that possible. I didn't mention Rebecca or the IVF. That felt private, despite everything. Some things were too complicated to explain in a 500-word essay. I also got a job, then another one. I worked at the campus library for 15 hours a week and picked up shifts at a local restaurant on weekends. Between classes, studying and work, I was sleeping about 5 hours a night. My parents called frequently. I kept the conversations short. How's the job search going? Dad asked. Fine, have you looked into loans yet? Mom asked. Working on it. We could cosign, Dad offered. No thank you. The idea of being financially tied to them for the next 10 to 15 years made me feel ill. If I was going to do this, I'd do it on my own. Rebecca stopped texting after I didn't respond to her first dozen messages. Mom said she was hurt by my silence. I didn't have the energy to care. My academic advisor, Dr. Chen, called me into her office 3 weeks into the semester. Melissa, I'm worried about you. Your lab partners say you're exhausted. You fell asleep during seminar last week. What's going on? I started to give her my standard brush-off, then stopped. Dr. Chen had been my mentor for 2 years. She'd written recommendation letters for me, had advocated for me to join advanced research projects. She cared, so I told her everything. Dr. Chen listened, her expression growing increasingly troubled. When I finished, she sat back in her chair. Your parents committed a significant ethical breach, she said carefully. But I'm not here to judge your family. I'm here to help you succeed academically. So let's talk about realistic options. We spent 2 hours going through possibilities I hadn't considered. Dr. Chen connected me with a research program that paid a stipend. She helped me apply for a competitive departmental scholarship. She even reached out to some of her industry contacts about paid internship opportunities. You're one of the brightest students I've taught, she said as I left her office. Don't let this derail you. Your potential is too great. I cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes after that meeting. Someone believed in me. Someone was investing in my success not because they had to, but because they chose to. Part 6, the scholarship that changed everything. 6 weeks into the semester, I got an email that made my heart stop. Dear Miss Melissa Chen, congratulations. You have been selected as a recipient of the Dr. Margaret Harding Memorial Scholarship for Women in STEM. This scholarship provides full tuition and a living stipend for your remaining undergraduate studies, with potential extension into graduate programs for qualified candidates. I had to read it 3 times before I believed it was real. The scholarship was funded by an endowment from a wealthy widow whose daughter had died of cancer after being unable to complete her medical degree due to financial hardship. Mrs. Harding had created the scholarship to ensure other young women wouldn't have to abandon their dreams because of money. The amount would cover everything: tuition, housing, books, and a monthly stipend of $1,000 for living expenses. I was free. I called Dr. Chen immediately. She answered on the first ring. I heard, she said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. I was on the selection committee. Your application was extraordinary, Melissa. But more than that, your response to adversity showed exactly the kind of resilience and character Mrs. Harding wanted to support. Did you advocate for me? I told the truth. That you're exceptional, that you've faced an unjust situation with grace, and that investing in you would be one of the best decisions the committee could make. After I hung up, I sat on my bed and stared at the wall. I'd done it. I'd found a way through without my parents' money, without their help, without having to swallow my hurt and pretend everything was okay. Then my phone rang. Mom, I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Melissa, your father and I just spoke with Rebecca. We found a way to get some of the money back for you. Tom got a bonus and they're willing to repay $20,000. It's not everything, but... I don't need it, I said quietly. What? I got a full scholarship. Full ride for the rest of my degree plus a living stipend. Silence on the other end. That's wonderful, honey. Mom's voice sounded strange, strained. It is, I agreed, so everything worked out then. And there it was, the implication that because I'd found a solution their betrayal didn't matter, that because I'd landed on my feet they'd been right to assume I would. Mom, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest. If I hadn't gotten this scholarship, if I'd had to take out massive loans or drop out, would you have felt guilty? Of course we would have felt terrible. Would you have done anything differently? Would you have told Rebecca no? The pause told me everything I needed to know. We love you both equally, Mom said finally. We did what we thought was right. No, I said that word again. You did what was easiest. You did what stopped Rebecca from crying. You made a choice and I'm glad I know now where I stand in this family. That's not fair, Melissa. You don't understand what it's like to watch your child suffer. You're right, I don't understand, because my parents chose to watch me suffer instead. I hung up. Part 7, Thanksgiving, Part 2. The scholarship changed everything practically, but emotionally I was still in turmoil. I went to counseling through the Student Health Center. My therapist, Dr. Morales, helped me understand something crucial. Forgiveness and reconciliation aren't the same thing, she explained. You can forgive your family for what they did, release the anger that's poisoning you without pretending it didn't happen or accepting their behavior. I don't know if I can forgive them, I admitted. That's okay too. Forgiveness isn't required. But carrying hatred is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You need to find a way to process this that lets you move forward. I worked on it. Some days were better than others. When Thanksgiving rolled around again, 1 full year since the revelation, I decided to go home. Not because I'd forgiven them, but because I wanted to face them from a position of strength. The house looked the same, smelled the same, but I was different. Mom hugged me at the door. Oh honey, I've missed you so much. I hugged her back, but it felt perfunctory, like hugging an acquaintance. Dad was in the kitchen, and the way his face lit up when he saw me made my chest ache. I used to be Daddy's girl. Now I was just someone who used to be close to him. Rebecca and Tom aren't coming, Mom said as we sat down for dinner. She thought it might be too awkward, probably smart, I said neutrally. We made it through dinner with strained small talk. College was fine. My research was going well. Yes, the scholarship was wonderful. No, I didn't need anything. After dinner, Dad asked me to take a walk with him. We walked through our neighborhood in silence for a while. Finally, he spoke. I made the wrong choice, he said quietly. I know that now. I told myself we were helping both our daughters, but the truth is I took the path that made Rebecca stop crying and assumed you'd understand. That wasn't fair to you. I waited. There had to be more. Your mother and I, we've always known you were special. Strong, capable, independent. Rebecca needed us more, or at least she demanded our attention more. And we fell into a pattern of giving her what she asked for and assuming you were fine. That's on us, not you. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because you deserve an apology. A real one, not one with excuses attached. What we did was wrong. We violated your trust. We made a choice that prioritized one daughter over another. And I'm sorry. I felt tears building. Do you know what hurt most? It wasn't even the money. It was that you didn't ask. You didn't think I deserved a conversation. You just decided my future for me. I know, his voice broke, and I can't tell you how much I regret that. But Melissa, I need you to know something else. We're not giving them any more money. We told Rebecca no when she asked for help with adoption costs. I stopped walking. What? She and Tom are looking into adoption now. They asked us to help with the fees. I said no. I told her we'd made a mistake before and we wouldn't repeat it. How did she take that? She's furious. She's not speaking to us. She says we've chosen you over her, that we're punishing her for wanting a family. Part of me felt vindicated. Another part felt sick. I don't want to be the reason you can't help her, I said slowly. That's not what this is about. It's not a reason, it's a boundary. We should have had boundaries before. We should have told her that while we loved her and sympathized with her struggle, we couldn't sacrifice your future for her wants. That's on us, not you. We walked back to the house in silence. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something, a crack in the wall. Part 8, Rebecca's side. I avoided Rebecca for another 6 months. Then she showed up at my apartment unannounced. "We need to talk," she said when I opened the door. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, weight loss, tension in every line of her body. I let her in. We sat across from each other in my tiny living room. Jen had tactfully disappeared into her bedroom. "I'm sorry," Rebecca said without preamble. "I'm sorry for what we did. I'm sorry for the text I sent. I'm sorry for saying you were being dramatic. I'm sorry for all of it. I waited. I was not in a good place mentally. The fertility issues consumed me. I couldn't think about anything else. I couldn't see past my own pain. And when Mom and Dad offered to help, I didn't think about what it meant for you. I just thought, finally, I might get what I wanted." "At my expense," I said quietly. "Yes, at your expense, and I told myself it was okay because you were young and smart and you'd figure it out. But that was just me justifying my selfishness. Why are you here now?" Rebecca took a shaky breath. "Because I've been in therapy. Real therapy, not just sitting on someone's couch complaining. And I've realized that my fertility struggles made me into someone I don't like. Someone entitled and cruel and self-centered. I destroyed my relationship with my little sister because I couldn't see past my own wants." "Did it work?" I asked. "Are you pregnant, adopting?" She shook her head. "Tom and I are separating. Turns out when you build a relationship entirely around the goal of having children and then that goal becomes impossible, there's nothing left." I felt a complicated surge of emotions. Sympathy, vindication, sadness, relief that it wasn't my problem to fix. "I'm sorry you're going through that," I said, and meant it. "Are you?" Rebecca asked, not accusingly but genuinely, because I wouldn't blame you if you weren't. I considered the question honestly. "Yes, I'm sorry, not sorry enough to forget what you did or pretend it didn't happen, but sorry that you're hurting. You're still my sister." Rebecca nodded, tears streaming down her face. Is there any chance we can rebuild this? Not now maybe, but someday." "Maybe," I said, "but it's going to take time. And therapy for both of us probably." "I understand." She stood to leave, then paused. "The scholarship you got. Mom told me about it. I'm proud of you, Melissa. You accomplished that on your own despite everything we did to sabotage you. That takes real strength." After she left, I sat in the dark for a long time, processing. Part 9: The Road Forward. My senior year passed in a blur of research, coursework, and planning for the future. I graduated summa cum laude with multiple job offers and an acceptance into a top graduate program with full funding. At graduation, my parents were there. So was Rebecca, sitting separately from them. We'd been slowly rebuilding our relationship. Coffee every few months, careful conversations that avoided hot-button topics. Dr. Chen was also there, beaming with pride. So was Jen, who'd become more than a roommate. She was the sister I'd chosen rather than the one I'd been born with. When I walked across the stage, I thought about the journey. The scholarship application written through tears at 2 a.m, the endless shifts at the restaurant. The moment I'd opened that acceptance email and realized I'd made it. I thought about Grandpa, who'd started the college fund and would have been devastated to know what happened to it. But I also thought about how he'd always told me I was tough enough to handle anything. Turns out he was right. At the reception afterward, Mom approached me nervously. "Honey, we're so proud of you." "Thank you," I said, and I meant it without bitterness. "We put together a graduation gift for you," Dad said, handing me an envelope. Inside was a check for $20,000. "Tom did pay us back eventually," Dad explained. "We've been saving it for you. We know it's not the full amount and it doesn't make up for what we did, but..." "Thank you," I said, cutting him off. "This is very generous." I didn't tell them that I'd be donating it to the scholarship fund that had saved me. That felt private, but it felt right. Taking the money that had represented betrayal and turning it into hope for another young woman who'd need it. Rebecca approached last, hanging back until my parents had moved on. "You did it," she said simply. "I did. I always knew you would." She paused. "For what it's worth, I'm getting help. Real help. And I'm learning to find meaning in my life beyond motherhood." "I'm glad," I said, and I was. "Think we'll ever be close again? Like we were when we were kids?" I thought about it honestly. I don't know, maybe not like we were, but maybe something different. Something built on honesty instead of obligation. Rebecca nodded. "I'll take it." Part 10: 2 years later. I'm sitting in my grad school apartment, putting the finishing touches on a research paper that could change the field of biomedical engineering. My advisor says it's groundbreaking. I'm being careful not to let it go to my head. My phone buzzes. A text from Rebecca. "Guess what? We finalized the adoption today. Her name is Maya." Attached is a photo of my sister holding a tiny infant, her face transformed with joy. I stare at the photo for a long moment. 2 years ago, this would have filled me with rage. Now I feel glad. Genuinely glad that she's found her path to motherhood and that this time she did it without stealing someone else's future. I text back, "Congratulations, she's beautiful. When can I meet her?" The response is immediate: "Whenever you want, Auntie Mel." Auntie Mel, I smile. My relationship with my parents has improved too, though it will never be what it was. We talk regularly now, but there are boundaries. They don't get to know everything about my life. They don't get to offer opinions on my choices. They're on the periphery, not the center, and I'm okay with that. Dr. Chen emails me about a research position at a prestigious institute. The salary is incredible. The work is exactly what I've been dreaming about. I accept immediately. That night I video call with Jen, who's now working in tech in San Francisco. You did it, she says, echoing Rebecca's words from my graduation. You actually did it. We did it, I correct. I couldn't have survived that year without you. That's what family's for, she says, and we both understand that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up when blood fails you. Epilogue 5 years later. I'm giving a lecture at my alma mater, invited back by Dr. Chen. The topic is resilience in STEM, overcoming barriers to success. I tell my story, not in detail, some things remain private, but the broad strokes. A financial crisis, a scholarship, the choice to keep moving forward instead of giving up. After the lecture, a young woman approaches me. She's crying. My parents just spent my college fund on my brother's business, she says. I don't know what to do. I sit with her for an hour. I tell her about scholarship databases. I connect her with Dr. Chen. I share the resources that saved me. Will it be okay, she asks finally. I don't know, I say honestly. But you're stronger than you think, and you're not alone. She hugs me, and I remember the girl I was 5 years ago, sitting in Java Junction, certain my life was over. That night I have dinner with my parents. They've aged visibly, guilt and time taking their toll, but they're trying, we all are. Maya's birthday party is next week, Mom mentions. Rebecca wanted to make sure you got the invitation. I'll be there, I say. And I will be, because Maya is innocent in all of this. She deserves an aunt who shows up, who loves her, who's present in her life. But I'll also be there because I've learned something crucial. You can acknowledge the hurt someone caused you without letting that hurt define your entire existence. You can set boundaries without building walls. You can rebuild without forgetting. The betrayal happened. It shaped me. It hurt me. It changed the trajectory of my relationship with my family forever, but it didn't break me. If anything, it made me understand something I might never have learned otherwise, that resilience isn't about not falling down. It's about getting back up, about finding another way, about refusing to let someone else's choices determine your destiny. My parents made a choice that day in the kitchen. They chose Rebecca's immediate crisis over my long-term future. They chose the easy path over the right one, but I made choices too. I chose to fight for my education. I chose to find another way. I chose to build a life that didn't depend on their promises. And in the end, that choice to say no and mean it was the most important word I ever spoke. Because it meant, no, you don't get to decide my worth. No, you don't get to determine my future. No, you don't get to write the ending to my story. I'll write it myself. The end.